Welcome back to Jacques in the Garden. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to cure, store, and preserve your homegrown onions and garlic so that you won't run out by the time your next year's harvest is ready. Right now, I'm kneeling in front of the last of my garlic. Now this year, I kind of only grew hardneck garlic. I don't know how that happened, but that's just kind of what happened. And I've already harvested out at least half of it. So what's left here is the remaining garlic that needs to get pulled. And what I'm looking for is usually that 50% of the leaves are dead and dying. So if it's turning brown at 50% level, then I think it's ready to harvest. So this one right here is a perfect example. Oh wow, it's a nice head too. So right here you could see there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves that are still green, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves that have dried down and turned brown. At that point, the head is going to be reaching its maximum size, and you'll still have full wrapper protection without too much of it breaking down. If you leave your garlic in the ground for too long, what happens is that the wrappers will actually rot, and then you won't be able to preserve or store this garlic for really any amount of time, and you really just have to do a drying method, which I'll show you as well. So a lot of times when it comes to homegrown garlic, you're never going to get a perfect harvest. You're going to end up with some that just have bad wrappers, maybe the cloves broke through, and I'm going to show you what to do with those so they're not wasted and you can still enjoy your garlic that you grew from your garden. Now, some of these are not quite fully 50% dry. For example, this one here is quite green, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull anyway, because it's a monster too. Because what's happening is that the longer they're sitting underground, I'm seeing a lot of this happen right here, which is the wrapper breaking down. So I don't want to risk these wrappers getting too weak and then I don't have any protection for my harvest. I'd rather just pull it all right now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all this garlic. We'll talk about how I like to cure it and what to do when it's fully cured. One thing I want to point out really quick is that something you might have noticed is that my soil is bone dry. So I could grab it, I could crumble it. That is on purpose. When your garlic is nearing the end of its life cycle, when it starts to put out at least 2 or 3 of these dead leaves, that is when you want to cut off the water, because the water is otherwise just going to simply rot your bulbs while they're sitting underground. So please make sure you turn off the water as you're approaching your harvest window. But that's it for now. If your garlic is very stuck and it's breaking, then you want to go ahead and grab a shovel or a fork, come in from the side and pop the garlic out, but try to be careful not to stab it. For me, I already know that this ground is very friable and loose, so all I'm going to do is simply grab the neck and pull my heads right out of the ground. So I should point out that the example I'm going to show you here is an extremely weird oddball. What happened on this garlic in particular was that it shot up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate sprouts instead of just growing into one head of garlic. It seems like every single clove developed and then it regrew. So I don't know what happened there, but what ended up happening in reality was that all the wrappers failed to fully seal the garlic cloves. So right here you could see that these are unwrapped. They don't have a protective coating. The soil got in. There's probably like little insects in there. It could have fungal growth. It's still safe to eat. You just have to peel it, but this is not going to store for any reasonable amount of time. So I'll show you what to do with this. Basically, you want to eat it first, but there are some other preservation methods that you could use, and I'll be covering those at the end. But first, let's bring this over to my curing table, and I'll show you how to cure your garlic and what to look for when it's ready. Before we get too deep into the curing process, I wanted to call out the surface that I'm using to do it. This is a simple table, essentially, that I built without a top, and once I framed it all out, I just attached some welded wire fencing to the top. What this does is it allows me to take my heads of garlic like this that are all nice and green still, and just grab them like so, push them through, and hang them just like that. That way they have airflow at the bottom, they have airflow from the top, they're not piled on top of each other like that. What this does is it allows your garlic to actually properly dry down. So you can see here that everything that's left on here is entirely brown, there's no more real green on there, and this is the point that we're happy with the curing process. I even have some that are more extreme than that, like this guy that's literally brown. There's no moisture left here at all. So this is a garlic that is ready to cure. It's ready to move on to the next stage. But one thing I wanted to call out really quick is that you'll see that even on my well-cured finished garlic, there's still dirt on it. I am not messing with this garlic before I go into the curing process. You're not trying to really clean it. You don't want to get it wet. You don't want to brush it. All of that's going to come off very easily once it's fully dry. So all you're doing at this point is figuring out a way to dry it. Another method I've seen people do is they'll take like a little bundle of these at a time, tie a piece of string like so, and just hang all your garlic plants somewhere. The main thing that you want to do is not leave it out in full sun, because the full sun can kind of cook it, ruin the flavor, not allow it to last as long in storage. You want airflow, you want no direct light, and you want it to be as dry as you possibly can get it. If you can't do this outside because you have rain, then you're just going to have to find somewhere indoors to set up, or you're gonna have to use a fan to make it happen a little bit faster. The curing process usually takes 2 to 4 weeks. It all depends on your weather, your climate, where you're doing it, how dry it is, all that sort of good stuff. But basically what you're looking for is the roots are originally supple and fresh from the fresh harvested garlic. It turns very hollow, dry, brittle. It's almost like a brush, and you could just grab it and pinch it right off. There's basically nothing left on there. It's very weak. So this is the stage that the roots are ready. What you want to see on the stem itself is that all the leaves are fully brown. There's basically just a brown color here. And if I cut this, I'm gonna go about maybe 2 to 3 inches up. It should be not juicy. So this one here actually does have a little bit of juice in there. There's a little drip of water coming out. So this could in theory cure for another week or 2 and it would be even better. But at this stage, I'd say it's honestly probably fine to move on. It's mostly dry and the wrappers have actually set. So how are we going to actually store this garlic so it lasts a long time? I'll show you that in a second, but first let's talk about these onions. When it comes to actually storing your onions inside, here's what I like to do and how I like to get them ready before I bring them in. What I'll do is I'll grab my onion here, and whatever neck is left, it should be extremely dry at this point. There's no moisture if you roll it between your fingers, and you could take your pruners, scissors, whatever you have on hand, go just about 1 inch up. You can even go a little bit less. Clip that off. It should feel dry and hollow, and this one does. For the roots, I honestly find that just pinching them and ripping them off with your hand works really well. But if you want to get some of that dirt off, you could also take your pruners and just skim the base of the roots, and that'll leave it a little bit cleaner. A lot of people also like to remove any of these leaves that look a little bit gross or dirty on the outside. Honestly, they're helping store your onion for a little bit longer, so up to you if you want to remove them. But this is the final product you're looking for, a nice cleaned up onion just like you would find at the store. And when it comes to storing them, what I like to do is I use these cotton mesh bags, and I could put a link for them in the description. Load this up with onions, and you could hang this in your pantry somewhere dark. I'll show you that in a moment later on in the video. But that should allow them to last for quite a long time. They want to store somewhere cool, somewhere dry, somewhere out of direct light, and something like a pantry hanging in a mesh bag like this is ideal. So that is the basics for storing the onions. I'll show you exactly how I keep them indoors. But next I want to talk a little bit about preserving, because if you've grown hardneck garlic, then you've almost certainly had garlic scapes. So I want to show you a recipe on how to make these garlic scapes last a long time, and also how to make your own onion and garlic powders as well, before we move on to actually showing you my secret hardneck storage method. The first thing we're going to start with here are garlic scapes. Now garlic scapes are really wonderful. We eat them all the time, but each plant will produce 1 scape, so you'll end up with probably 100 to 200 scapes at the end of the season. Now the cool thing about these is that they do taste like garlic. They're not quite like garlic. They're almost like a garlic and a leek together, maybe even with like a little bit of green bean. So it's an interesting flavor, but it is very good. Now a lot of people like to make pesto with this. You just sub garlic with garlic scape, make your pesto as you normally would, and it's quite delicious. I also will just cut these up, saute them like I would garlic, but it's just not that same pungency of a true garlic clove. So instead, what we are going to do is make garlic scape powder. What that is just dehydrated garlic scapes that have been turned into a nice powder. Then you'll get that more sort of light garlicky flavor that you could throw on top of a dish at the end and really give it something special. I'm actually looking forward to using this garlic scape powder on my pizzas this summer. So all we're going to do here is chop off the flower heads. A lot of people will pickle these. They could do other things with them. I'm going to set them aside, and actually we'll be making a stock with them. So I'm going to just throw them in some vegetable stock later. For now, I'm going to put them on the dehydrator screen, but we're not actually dehydrating these guys. All we're doing is we're taking our garlic scapes and we're cutting them as small as we can. They are kind of annoying since they curve over, but it doesn't matter. It's just going to take longer than a dehydrator if you don't cut them perfectly. The cool thing about garlic scapes too is that they will last a long time in your fridge. Some of these scapes in here are probably a month old and they feel just fine. There's just really nothing to go bad here. So all we're going to do is take our cut up garlic scapes and spread them out on the screen like so. And we're gonna fill up a couple layers before we move on to the onions and the garlic as well. There we have it. The garlic scape is ready for drying now. So all we're going to do is set this aside while I get the onions ready next. And we'll talk about what settings I like to use to dry these guys out. For the onions, what I'm doing here is just taking some of the smaller onions that just not as impressive, that I don't want to show off to my friends as much. So we're gonna go with the little guys here. We're gonna turn them into onion powder. Now the other thing you could do, of course, is take the onions that maybe have like a scratch on them, maybe the wrappers didn't fully form, they just don't look like they're going to store for a long time. Those are your ideal candidates for actually doing this process here. Now, if you've had onions from your garden before and they just rot before you finish them, then this is ideal for you. Onion powder is absolutely wonderful in so many different dishes. So it's definitely worth making. And of course, your homegrown onion powder is going to be way better than anything you've ever bought before. So it turns out making onion powder is really easy. All you do is you take your onions, you cut them up as fine as you want. The smaller you cut them, the faster they'll dry. I'm just going to do some random cut here. Then you take your onion, you spread it all over your dehydrator, whatever you're using. If you break it up a little bit more, so rather than like leave this whole chunk here, you could kind of break it up. That'll help it dry a little faster. And it doesn't really matter if you left like a little bit of this like outer skin, like maybe the little bit of color left from the onion peel, maybe even just like part of a wrapper. All of that you won't notice at all once it gets blended up into onion powder. I promise you that. So all we're going to do again, chop your onions as fine as you want. Again, finer will dry faster, but that's all you really need to do. There you have it. As you can see, I barely even tried to do anything consistent here. I'm just chopping this onion. I don't really care. But we are going to go on a second level here to make it a little bit faster. So if you don't do a perfect job on like the processing or the cutting, you can always make it up by having more layers, letting it run for a little bit longer. It's all up to you really at this point. Now, what do you do if your garlic looks like this and the wrappers haven't fully encircled and closed off your cloves? Well, this is just not going to store for a very long time. So you have a couple different options here. First is to just use it in the kitchen right away. You don't need to cure garlic or do anything to it before using it. That's just ideal for long-term storage. Now, this can happen to you for any variety of reasons. Last year, it actually happened to both me and Kevin across basically all of our garlic because we ended up getting garlic rust, which is a fungal disease that attacks your plant and stops it from growing very well. And what happened was basically it wasn't able to grow enough to make any wrappers. So what I like to do is use it right away in either recipes, or last year I actually made my own chili garlic crunch oil, which was really good. Definitely check that out. I could put a link in the description to that. So what we're going to do this year instead though is make garlic powder. So it's very similar to everything else that we've done so far. All you need to do is peel your garlic and then get it on your dehydrator. The smaller you cut it, the faster it'll dry. And we're going to be drying all three of these at about either 120 to 135, and it'll probably take at least 24 hours for them to be fully dry. So all I'm going to do for the garlic, since I have so much other juicy stuff in there, is simply split it in half like this, place it on my rack, and then put the rest of the cloves, and we'll set this up to dry. We filled up the dehydrator with onions, garlic, and garlic scapes, and now I'm going to set it to 135 degrees and let it run until everything is crispy and dry. Now I will be doing this outside for as much as possible because otherwise the inside of your house is going to reek of onions and garlic, which you're welcome to do, but that's a personal choice. Once this is ready, I'll show you how to finish the preservation process and also how to properly actually bring your onions and garlic inside for long-term storage. It has been a few days later and everything is nice and dry. Now, I'm very happy I did this outside because I was literally 1 block down the street and I could smell the garlic. So definitely do this outside. Don't do it in your house unless you want everyone to hate you and your house will smell like garlic forever. So what are we looking for to know that it's done? First of all, I'm sad that I didn't do more garlic. This is clearly not enough. Oh, some of it actually fell through. What we're looking for is that when you take your dried whatever it is, whether it's the garlic or the onion, and you go like this, it should snap. It should crunch, snap, nice and crispy. I think they're all dry. Some of them are a little bit thicker, but each one should snap just like that. When you grab it, should have a nice crunchiness to it. That's how you know it's ready. Same with the onions. If I were to take an onion, see how crumbly it is? It's already ready to turn into powder. So I'm gonna get all this nice, super dried onion here. You could just hear it right there. I mean, that's crunchy. That is 100% dry. All right, let's do an inaugural grind and we'll see what we're gonna get here. So I would let it settle for a second because all this dust is going to escape otherwise. So let's see what we got here. That smells good, guys. It smells really good. So I have a little sifter here just because I'm sure some chunks are gonna be left. It smells so good. It smells unlike any onion powder I've ever had. I do regret not doing more of this garlic here. This is clearly not enough, but let's go ahead and get this in the grinder as well. That's garlic, undeniable. I'm gonna do another little spin in there. There's still a couple of these bigger chunks in there. So let's give it another couple seconds in here. So I think this is going to be a scoopable rather than a sprinkle because there are a little bit of chunkiness in there. And that's probably just because the garlic is so big. It's hard for it to dry totally perfectly evenly. But overall, I gotta say, that's looking nice. But the one that's really truly unique, and I've actually seen people sell this for a lot of money because garlic scapes are a commodity, they're rare. They don't just happen year round. And actually they're also, I think I mentioned it last time, but if you're somebody who struggles to digest garlic or onions, it's just like bad for your stomach, garlic scapes will actually solve that. They don't inflame your stomach in the same way. I don't know why. I know that it's true though. And garlic scapes is one of the substitutes that people do. So if you're growing garlic scapes, or if you have friends who grow garlic scapes, dry them up, make a garlic scape powder. It's an interesting flavor. It's not quite garlic, but it is garlicky. And it has some sweetness, some greenness to it, almost like a green bean. And I'm just excited. I've never had garlic scape powder, so I'll let you know what this actually tastes like in the end. Look at that, it almost looks like pistachios. You know what? It's super weird. I don't know why this is true, but it smells like matcha. It smells like green tea matcha to me. That's the best way I could describe it. All right, taste test time. So garlic scape powder is the one that I'm not sure how it's gonna really taste, so let's find out. Honestly, it's very mild. Tastes like a mild garlicky onion. It still has a little bit of that matcha vibe to it. Definitely has some garlic notes. It would scratch the itch for garlic. It's not quite garlic, but it does get the job done. And it looks interesting. This might be a fun thing to finish like a pizza with. Just sprinkle it on top after the end, just to surprise your guests. They won't have any idea what you put on there. So there we got the 3 spices from this vegetable, or I guess herb, ready. We got onion powder, garlic scape powder, which are all going to be used up very quickly in my kitchen. I cannot wait to try them. So now let me show you how I actually like to store my hardneck garlic. Because hardneck garlic is a little bit weird. Since it has that hard neck, it's a little bit more difficult to braid. You can still do it. There's ways around it. You could even cut the hard neck out. But I actually found a really clever solution using only a landscape staple. So this is what I figured out last year. I tried it last year. I loved it. It worked really, really well for me. So I'm gonna do it again. And this time I'm gonna show you guys how it works. So I take a huge landscape staple. I think this is like 10 inches maybe. Get the biggest one you could find, or just get a bunch of small ones, I guess. And then what I like to do is get some pliers here, and then I bend it to make it straight. So that part's straight now. Now to hit the other side. So just like that, now we have a stick. And now what we're going to do is fold over the bottom here. So here's the basic structure of a landscape staple deconstructed into something useful. The reason why we're doing this is because on the end of the landscape staple is a sharpened point. So let me show you what we're gonna do here. You're gonna grab your hardneck garlic, just like this, and then you're gonna stab it right into the neck. Take your next one, and then you're gonna just alternate, but you don't even have to think about it because you could just spin it around when it's time to alternate. So just go ahead, push it through, and just like that, you can already see where this is going. What I'm going to be doing is building out a spiral of garlic on this hook, but then the cool thing is how you could store this in your kitchen once it's all spiked up. But let's get this all stabbed on. We have all the hardneck garlic on the landscape staple. Looks amazing, convenient to pull from. But now I'm gonna show you where to put it inside so it lasts a long time, as well as how to deal with those onions I showed you earlier and the spices. Once your garlic is fully cured and dry, it's time to bring it inside and begin to enjoy it in your cooking process. Now for the hardneck garlic here, what I've done is I've added a screw to the inside of my pantry, and all I'm doing is I'm hanging it right off of that screw. Now, whenever I need some garlic, all I have to do is come over here, grab the bulk of the actual garlic, and then yank on one of the cloves, just like that. What happens is it'll split down the neck where we impaled it, and now the rest of the garlic can still hang there. All my other garlic that was just loose, I didn't bother spiking, is just in a loose bag like this, as well as my onions. Now, I have used a lot of onions. It's been about a month since I actually recorded the rest of the video, but let me show you how I use this stuff in the kitchen and stop the bulk of it from going bad. So there is another thing I should mention, and that is that you shouldn't store your onions with your potatoes. So instead, even though I have my potatoes on this rack here, I do have my ready to use onions and garlic in this little shelf above it. So I could take that garlic and place right there. All of this is the stuff that I'm using in an immediate basis, and it probably won't be here for any longer than a week. For onions, there's no chance that's gonna last longer than a week. So the idea behind this is that I'm able to easily access this from my kitchen island, and I can still store potatoes down there without worrying about my actual onions going bad. Now, unfortunately, I don't have anything to offer for you guys. This is a custom build we did with IKEA complement baskets. We just made it fit underneath our kitchen island, and that's been working great for us. But the main thing is that you store the bulk of your onions and garlic away from potatoes, somewhere cool and dark, and preferably with a breeze. Anything else that you're using on a regular basis, feel free to put it wherever is convenient for you. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.